to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.
Hi, I'm holding so much in my hand, sorry. This is like what I do at home every day, is I just like pick up my water bottle and then like move it from room to room in my apartment. But it's fitting because Close All Tabs' first ever live event was modeled after the PowerPoint parties my friends and I used to throw in my apartment. Welcome to our very first live event. Can I get my real life friends on stage? Aidan Walker and Candice Lim. Today, we are here to all talk about the internet. We all have presentations. We have this fun empty seat. This is not just like ceremonial. We will have audience members come up and also give you their presentations. But first, I have one for you. Yes, that is, in fact, former President Barack Obama with Harry Styles, a pairing known as Ho-Bama. We're not here to talk about them today, okay? Today we are talking about Fujoing out on Main and what it portends for Woke 2. Now, let's talk about why am I qualified to talk about this? First of all, I have been covering the internet for years and years and years. It is my job to be in the freakiest corners of the internet. Second of all, I am a neutral party in this discourse. Has anyone here seen Heated Rivalry? Yeah? Guys, the fandom tearing itself apart, okay? It's bad, okay? It is gay men against straight women. It is fan-on-fan crime. Luckily, this does not apply to me. I can be objective here, okay? Third, I spent my adolescence in the trenches of /fic, okay? I was there for Mpreg Drary. I was there for Larry Stylinson. And worst of all, So, now Fujoing on a Main, what does that mean? Let's break this down, okay? To Fujo out. So, to Fujo out comes from the Japanese word, fujoshi, for rotten girl. This is a young woman who's obsessed with this kind of media. They love to watch boys kiss, okay? This is not just like, oh, I like Heated Rivalry. This is like, they're in it, okay? The genre is often called yaoi, boys love, BL, in Asia, or /sips in the West. To Fujo out. To Fujo out is a verb. This is the act of obsessively enjoying boys kissing. On Main. To do something on Main is to use your public account, right? Like, you're doing this out in the open, where people can see you. So, to Fujo out on Main. Back in the day, I don't know if anyone else remembers this, any other Zillennials in the house. Remember the family computer? This is like going on the family computer in full view of your mother and Googling boys kissing. Okay, that is what it is to Fujo out on Main. So, not even deleting search history, okay? Now, what is Woke 2? Woke 2 is interesting. This is like described as a mass cultural vibe shift, a kind of like progressive retribution, the pendulum swinging back after conservatism. A lot of people often reference this manifesto that was written by like literally some guy, some software engineer, and people have been treating it as like the Bible of Woke 2, okay? It's literally a blog post, but like people do like actually like resonate with this. So this manifesto includes stances like trans rights, hell yeah, not picking niche or semantic battles, and acknowledging that if you ever felt victimized by Woke 1, might be time to seek therapy. Now, there are also some like personal gripes that I can get behind in this manifesto, such as disposable vapes should be illegal. However, what if we brought back mango jewel pods? What if? That's Woke 2, baby. Okay, so the point of Woke 2 is like equality and progress, but not really like getting bogged down by like the things that ruined Woke 1, like petty fights. So, what does Fujoing out on Main portend for Woke 2? This is getting real academic, okay? Buckle up, okay? Let's do a case study here, okay? And of course, for this very academic case study, we are going to be looking at Heated Rivalry, yeah. We're gonna be using a totally vibes-based, not at all scientifically backed tool that I like to call the Woke 2 meter. I came up with this. There's no real backing here, okay? So, as you can see, the Woke 2 meter ranges from peak Woke 2, mango jewel pods are back, baby, antithesis of Woke 2, 2nd January 2025. You remember that? You get it, right? Yeah, okay. So let me give you some historic context for this. So this was a case study that was published in 2013. Basically, the gay magazine DNA published fan art of this slash ship from Supernatural, very controversial, known as Wincest. Yeah, fans were enraged. This is what the fan studies scholar Joseph Brennan refers to as the online slash closet. So he noted that fans shared this commitment to keeping slash underground, a fanish protectiveness of the actors, and to the point where fans were genuinely concerned that if they talked about slash openly, people might actually think that the actors themselves were really gay, which was the worst possible thing you could do in 2013. Now compare this level of shame to today. With heated rivalry, everyone loves Fujoing out on Maine. Your mom is probably Fujoing out on Maine, okay? Now, on the woke 2 meter, I would say that this is pretty significant progress. However, representation alone is not enough. That's very woke 1 vibes. So there's potential here, right, to move into woke 2. We've gotten to the point where we are in fact seeing heated rivalry protest signs. Yeah, I know. And on the surface, I guess that could be very woke 2 vibes. It's more complicated than that, okay? Which brings me to my next question. Is Fujoing out an act of resistance? This is a 14-year-old article. It remains very relevant, okay? So on one hand, yes, fan culture does provide a genuine platform to be exposed to civic discourse for the very first time. On the other, turning political engagement into a fan experience, right? I know. Yeah, it can really dilute the movement, really bad vibes. I don't have time to get into the link between fandom and political discourse, but if you really want to know, we did an episode. How convenient. You can listen to that, okay? They're telling me I have 4 minutes left. I'm speeding through, okay? Now, Fujoing out on Maine is not inherently subversive. This is a conversation we have been having for literally a decade at this point, okay? But I just want to say it is not enough to just ship 2 characters of the same gender and call yourself progressive, okay? You got to be fighting for real-life queer people. So it raises the question, who are you Fujoing out on Maine for? Yeah, I know. Now, on the woke meter, I would argue that simply Fujoing out is very woke 1 vibes, okay? Yes, representation is great, but you got to think about the real material progress. So this is where it gets spicy. Ready? So Connor Story and Hudson Williams play the main characters in Heated Rivalry. They're love interests. However, after the show aired, Connor Story there were dating rumors about Connor Story and another actor in the series, not the love interest. Fans were enraged to the point where that's just the beginning, okay? There was some weird possessiveness. That was just the beginning of the weird fan outcry. So there's so much conflict between identity groups here right now. Everyone feels some sort of way about heated rivalry. Everyone wants to protect it and hold it. It's very that fanish protectiveness. So on one side, gay men. On the other, straight women. In between, queer women who are we exist too, by the way. So there's intense debate right now over who can play a queer character, over who owns fandom, about appropriation, about misogyny, about whether fans go too far. Guys, this is exactly the kind of thing that the Woke 2 Manifesto, clearly the Bible, was warning against. So I want to be clear, okay? The fight for equality and progress will not be progressed by fans sending each other death threats on Twitter. Therefore, fandom infighting, which does distract from the issues of real-life queer people, really dragging the needle back on the woke vibes, okay? It's not real. So that's why I say that Fujoing out right now is at a very critical crossroads as a fandom. It's very serious. So fandom itself doesn't cause political movement, but it's rather an indicator of how people interact with each other in line and how they're willing to engage in real discourse, in real collective action. So heated rivalry protest signs can be an indicator of 2 things. If the fandom infighting continues, right, it could mean that this very outspoken part of the internet that is clearly active in some way and is capable of collective action just doesn't want to do it. However, if they get it together, we might be in Mango Jewel Pod territory, guys. We might be able to do it. So I'm not a political scholar, obviously, and this case is purely based on vibe checks on the internet and this blog post that some guy wrote. However, I think that there's a pretty clear desire for like progress here, right? So we know that the loudest political movements do operate like fandoms already, but we need more research into fan studies overall. So there's often not enough scholarship to explain the why of fandom, which is why I have a few questions. This is what I want to see in the future scholarship of heated rivalry, okay? I'm expecting academic studies in a few years. First, remaining questions. So how will going mainstream fundamentally change what used to be a relatively niche fandom? And does the way that people engage with fandom ultimately mirror the way that they'll engage with politics? Lastly, what's up with the right-wing fujoshis? There are more than you'd think. What's up with them, okay? In conclusion, we need more fan studies, and I am begging heated rivalry fans to get it together because I want Mango Jewel Pops back, okay? The world can be a better place. There is space for it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, Morgan, I kind of want you to rank the Jewel Pod flavors like right now.
Mango.
Okay.
Mint.
Okay.
I never really tried the rest.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't really, I was committed. I was
Yeah.
always mango first. I could
Yeah.
go for mint if it's like there.
Right,
but,
right,
you know,
right.
Is
Yeah.
mint like woke one energy for mint Jewel Pod, or is that
No,
like
it's
January?
just there. It's there. It's apolitical.
Amazing. Amazing.
Okay. Well, Candice, I believe you have a presentation for us.
All right, guys. So let's begin. I have 4 photos. I have 4 photos on this screen, and you may be wondering why. What do they have to do with each other? Keep asking, because today I'm asking the question. Did Nicholas Sparks benefit from 9/11? Let's go. So Nicholas Sparks, as you may know, he is the author of The Notebook, A Walk to Remember. Here he is with Miley Cyrus and Zac Efron. He kind of created this like Disney Channel to like Nicholas Sparks movie pipeline. Things you need to know about him. He is from Nebraska, but he lives in North Carolina. This will come up later. He's written like 26 books, only 16 were New York Times bestsellers. And in my research, I found that he is like randomly jacked sometimes. I just don't know why. If you're a writer, you don't need to be. Anyway, that's beside the point. But here's the thing about Nicholas Sparks. Guess what? He is successful. He's successful. And this is kind of the beginning of his career. We have some hits here. But here's the thing. Let's look at his movies. So even though he has some like flops, like A Walk to Remember, which is crazy because I love that movie, a lot of his movies are clearing $100 million in the box office. That's like Five Nights at Freddy's 2 numbers. So here's the thing. I've been thinking about Nicholas Sparks just and his impact on my life because I feel like I haven't heard from him in a while. The DMs are being seen but not responded to. And I was just kind of like, why is Nicholas Sparks always there? Like, why is he always kind of in the echelon of culture? And I couldn't help but wonder, you know what's interesting? I've noticed that Nicholas Sparks is always up when America is down. Why is it that we are broken, he is up? What's going on there? To which I say, look at this graph, look at this graph. Look at this graph. So this is a graph basically asking Americans like, hey, how happy are you? Look at it, now look at that. Oh.
Helen.
It's crazy. These are his movies on top of the graph. Okay. And you may be asking, what is wrong with that? Why am I trying to get in between a jacked random ass guy and his bag? To which I say, let's think about this. Let's think about this. So I feel like Nicholas Sparks, even though he was kind of successful with his books, he didn't really like pop off until 2004. The Notebook becomes a movie. And I couldn't help but think like, let's think about the cultural conversation we are having when The Notebook comes out, all right? 9/11 happens, economy down, George Bush 9/11 meme economy begins. And everyone's sad, right? And then A Walk to Remember comes out in 2002. Okay, 2004, we are 3 years off of 9/11. Imagine who you were 3 years out of COVID, okay? Think about that person. Think about that person watching The Notebook for the first time. Watching Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling at the MTV Movie Awards make out for the first time. And all I can think is, Nicholas Moneybag Sparks sitting in his big-ass house benefiting from my sorrow. What's up with that? Now I want you to look at his eyes. Okay, everyone, look at his eyes. Everyone, look at his eyes. I just want to know what his deal is. Because here's the deal. We have a guy who has 2 great movies. He's gonna write 26 in his career. And I'm thinking, if I'm Nicholas Sparks and I can touch every single mom who walks into a Borders, I'm going to embed my messages subtly into the movies. Here's where we get into something. I've discovered things. Okay, so number 1, I think that Nicholas Sparks basically uses his novels to be kind of pro-military. At least 5 of his books feature a main love interest who like just came from the army. So this is like Channing Tatum, Dear John, this is Zac Efron, the lucky one. Number 2, why is he so obsessed with North Carolina? I kid you not, all of his books, North Carolina, never south. Never south, it's always north. He's obsessed with North Carolina. I'm just saying, as an author, I think you're allowed to write about other places, but whatever. And number 3, I have learned something, which is that basically Nicholas Sparks kind of created this like very Christian school in North Carolina. It's called Epiphany. In 2014, he was sued by the headmaster who had been working there for less than a year because he accused him of like, racism, homophobia, anti-Semitism. And in 2019, there were some documents leaked of Nicholas Sparks' emails. And in these emails that he wrote in 2013, he basically said, there's this gay club trying to start at the school, and I'm not about that, and it's not discrimination if I say you can't make it happen, so maybe just take care of them quietly. That is what he said in those emails. And here's the crazy thing, that lawsuit, Nicholas Sparks won it. I know. In 2019, he won the lawsuit, basically getting this headmaster to like shut up. And so I just can't help but wonder, Nicholas Sparks, and his books are so Christian. They're so Christian. They're so heterosexual. There's never a gay guy in there. It's crazy. And so I'm just thinking, like, he sent those emails in 2013. Okay, he sent those emails in 2013. 2014, I noticed Mr. Sparks has been a bit in his flop era, and I say that because I haven't read any of these. So. But I want to like take a temperature of 2014. There were good and bad. There were good and bad. Bad, Oscar selfie. Good, Winter Soldier. Bad, Ebola. And then also, the World Trade Center reopened in 2014. Oh, interesting. Now, Mr. Sparks, flop, yes? Why is he flopping? Well, I can't help but wonder if it's possibly because a necessary evil has now stepped into the circle, and her name is Colleen Hoover. Think about it, sit on that. So here's the deal about Colleen Hoover. I feel like Colleen Hoover came up at the perfect time because look at her production. For every 1 Nicholas Sparks, there are like 3 Colleen Hoovers. And the other thing too is that Nicholas Sparks actually in the romance community is a little bit shunned because he literally refuses to say I'm a romance author. He says I'm a romantic author, but he's just like, I'm not about that like girly stuff. And it's because romance novels, they have to have happily ever afters. He kills a girl every single book, right? And so Colleen Hoover steps in, Nicholas Sparks out. Now, I can't help but wonder, Colleen Hoover, we all know her story, got famous on Book Talk. What also happened in 2020? Pandemia. And so it's like her to pandemic is Nicholas Sparks to 9/11, yeah? And now you're wondering, what am I gonna do about it? What am I gonna do about it? To which I say, let's just check in real quick. So Colleen Hoover, unfortunately, will never die because it ends with us. I mean, she has a movie coming out next week. I mean, let's look at Nicholas Sparks. Funny thing about him, he hasn't made a movie in 11 years. He's been so quiet. He's like writing books, but they're flops. But he's coming out with a new movie in 2027. It's gonna be with M. Night Shyamalan. And you may be wondering, what am I? Thank you. Thanks, babes. And he's like, and I'm just thinking like, who's gonna win the war, right? Is it Nicholas Sparks or is it Colleen Hoover? To which I say, wouldn't it be so great if there was a poly market for it? Wouldn't it be so great if someone started a poly market trying to bet who's gonna make the highest grossing movie, Nicholas Sparks or Colleen Hoover? That's right. That's right. To which I say, thanks.
I have so many questions. Where do I even start?
Mingle, yeah.
I'm shaken.
Yeah?
That changed the way I thought
Your
about
mind.
the last quarter century
Really?
of American history.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
question,
Yeah.
what do you think about, like, obviously, we all know the story of My Chemical Romance and, like, their
Yeah.
origin story. How are they the, like, spiritual opposite of Nicholas Sparks? Like, would you both 9/11 related. So
Oh my
what's
God.
up with that?
Okay, Morgan is asking if My Chemical Romance is spiritually related to Nicholas
Right.
Sparks.
Exactly. Infamously,
yeah.
they got together because of 9/11. Gerard Way was so devastated. He was like, I gotta make incredible music.
Hell yeah. In fact, I think Nicholas Sparks listens to My Chemical Romance while writing his flop-ass books, but I think he does something twisted. He listens to them in reverse. And then he writes his books in reverse. Because one thing I'm gonna give him, he's not writing books with ChatGPT. I see what he made. Robots ain't doing that.
It's safe, it's safe. Wow, thank you so much, Candice. Aidan? Oh yeah, please.
Aidan has
I had one question.
Of course.
On the point of Nicholas Sparks sometimes being like swole and sometimes not. Do you have a sense first of how old he is? Because he really could be ageless.
Oh, yeah.
Like, is he currently buff? Or could that be a factor in the...
So here's the deal. Nicholas Sparks, I think, is hovering 57, 56. And the thing is, as you can tell, sometimes he's buff, sometimes he's next to Miley Cyrus and he's not buff. Right now, I gotta be honest, weirdly big head. Google it later. Weirdly big head right now. A lot of neck.
Interesting.
Wow.
Wow. I'm changed as a person. Thank
Yay.
you. Aidan, what do you have for us today?
Thank you. Yeah, so the presentation I've prepared is AI slop is McNuggets. So you might be familiar with both of these things. I am an ambivalent fan of each of them, but to go into it, we're aware of this. AI slop has some problems around it. If there's anything around the artificial intelligence revolution that people feel uncomfortable with, it's reels like this, which it's a hot dog bun that is, what's the verb? It's releasing.
Throwing that ass?
It is, but out of that is coming a child hot dog bun. And you'll notice that people are commenting hot dog please, because this account does tons of different foods and goes through it, and just there's a formula and you make reel after reel after reel, respect the hustle, respect the game. So despite that sort of screwed upness, which is not really what people want from social media, people find ways to make AI slop work for them. And I think this is what's really important. This is a quote from French theorist Michel de Certeau, which you can read if you'd like, but the thing I love about it is he's like the theorist of jaywalking. He's like, you'll plan the city, you'll make these streets, you'll plan it out all in a grid, you'll centralize, you'll formalize, but people are gonna go wherever they want, and that's the point. People are like the ocean, you can't hold them in, and when you give them these written and prefabricated vocabularies for consumers to move through. In the 80s, it was the cliche languages of television, newspaper, supermarket, city planning. That stuff sucks, but people figure out ways to like collage the advertisements and the freaky stuff and make their own lives out of it. Today, instead of TV, newspaper, supermarket, city planning, all of which are cooked, we have algorithm, interface, AI generation. People figure out ways to make this stuff that isn't really about them into something that is their own, and that's beautiful. So here are some examples. John Mudd, look it up on TikTok. I think he's a great avant-garde artist. Various forms of using AI images to make these things. In the center, we have the Wombo AI Trump cat male pregnancy with Jeffrey Epstein, which may have some, problems with it, but I think that.
Just a few.
Yeah, this is, maybe I'm disclosing too much about myself here. And then here, there's this Croydon Water Park meme, which is kind of interesting in that it's sort of a bunch of like British kids cosplaying as like racist British boomers, as I understand, and then using AI slop to kind of like do this complicated game. And so it's like it's a rich text. It's very interesting. And here's some more valuable things that I love: Italian brain rot, John Pork, tin cheese. These are the things that are on the modern pantheon. These are going to be in the compendium, greatest hits of the 21st century, alongside Notebook by Nicholas Sparks, like at that level, alongside Heated Rivalry. I mean, I would read a slash fic. I'm sure there are some of John Pork and Tim Cheese.
I'll check.
Yeah, I'd
you.
write one. Use ChatGPT to help me write one. But I think a lot about this stuff, and one time I was in rural Virginia working on the lavender harvest, hanging out in June, and I was looking for this thing to eat, and there was only gas station fried chicken. And I was looking around, and this is a screenshot of Google reviews, and I'm reading that, and that's ChatGPT. Like, Lewis is bringing the heat with that fresh, hot goodness you crave. It's a bummer to hear about the cold and hard food when the lady is working, though. We'll definitely keep an eye on that to make sure every visit is as crispy and crunchy as it should be. And so I think AI offers cheap, accessible, good enough intellectual and emotional labor for people who won't have access to it due to the historical conjuncture in which we live. And what I mean by that is you think loneliness epidemic. We have a demographic, a bunch of people are going to be aging, who's going to take care of them. We have all the kids who are brain rotted and cooked. We have the various crises we're living under that Nicholas Sparks is profiting from. And so I think that one of the ways we're going to see AI is going to start filling that gap in a lot of people's lives that's being made artificially. So you have this artificial solution that's going to try to fill it in. And so in that way, AI is a bit like McDonald's. In a lot of parts of the US, McDonald's is like a community center. It's a warming shelter. It's a place where you get nutrition. It's a place for jobs. When I worked a job that I didn't really like, I'd stop by McDonald's every morning, I'd fuel up, I'd get my coffee, and I did it because it was cheap, it was fast, and it filled in that little slot in my life, and I authentically liked it. It could be good, but I was there because it was the easiest thing. It didn't necessarily feel like an active choice on my part. It's there because it's there. People who are lonely. Now, the number one thing a 15-year-old is going to talk to if they feel alone, if they have a crush and they're confused, is going to be AI. If they're confused in class, they're going to talk to AI. If they have, learning a second or third language, AI is always going to be a tutor for that. If you're doing anything, AI is there for you. Like in this meme, which I love, of AI being the knight in shining armor for everyone who's around. And I think that's sort of a social fact of it that people don't talk about enough. So the problem of AI being a bit like McDonald's is that it's going to be much bigger than McDonald's. It's going to be in a lot more different parts of life. And building AGI is one thing for these companies, but providing care across the social context in which it's necessary, education, elder care, healthcare, the arts, media, that's harder. I think it's harder to do what NPR does than it is to do what Google does. And if AI is like McDonald's, it's a patch. It builds into them. The injustice, the inefficiency becomes load-bearing. They need it to continue so it can keep going. And then the cost of it is going to be offloaded to the most convenient payers, which is going to be the environment, public health, poor people, and the government's going to kind of be a problem. So that's some of the issues there. And this is kind of what I worry the situation will be. I realize this presentation is a downer. So you'll see this meme. It's the Breezewood, Pennsylvania meme, which is one of my favorites. It's this highway interchange, and Lewis and Clark are sitting there, imagining what to do with it. And I think sometimes that's like how the AI companies are. Like, imagine what we could do with this. We could build, programs that will help everybody. And it's like, no, you're going to build a bird with,
Shrimp Jesus.
Yeah, Shrimp Jesus, that kind of thing. And it's like, I think we can make a choice about this technology if we're active about it and have it build cool stuff. And so, in conclusion, AI slop is McNuggets. Not really chicken, not really healthy, but it tastes good in a unique way. Like, McNuggets hit different. Sometimes I crave that. They aren't like other chicken products. And I think AI does have a place where sometimes I really need the slop. Sometimes it's perfect, and I love McNuggets.
Wow, that was beautiful. I have a lot to think about. Quick question, if AI slop is the McNuggets of content, what is the Grimace shake of content?
Canva extensions. Word 96.
The Grimace shake could be like a deep fake, I guess. It's a deep fake slop. I mean,
a little bit more nefarious, right? Than just like plain slop. It's like a Grimace shake was like, it's a little spooky.
Ooh, you know what? I think the Grimace shake is, do you guys remember that AI video of the bunnies hopping on the trampoline?
Yeah.
It got me, and I have a bunny, and I knew he didn't move like that. So that's the Grimace shake, where it's like you're so tempted to go through the drive-thru, but then afterwards you're like, why do I feel a little diseased?
Yeah.
And also, you kind of love Grimace. Like, I have a fondness.
Yeah.
There's something sweet about Grimace, even though it's a little evil looking.
Yeah.
Right? Made an evil shake, but like a cute face. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Just want to hug him.
Up next, we have a very special treat. When we planned the event, we put out a little thing and we were like, you can also yap with us. And a lot of people responded, a lot of really great presentations. So we have a whole slate of incredible, very fun hot takes and deep dives, very unhinged, things that taught me a lot of things. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. But we will have our audience members come up and give their presentations. Up first, can we get Kit Lasher up here? Hello. I love us bringing our emotional support water bottles up. It's like you gotta.
Listen, when you see this presentation, you will understand why I always carry my own beverages with me.
Oh.
Okay. Very serious.
Okay, well,
Very serious.
You want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, I'm Kit Lasher, and I'm here to talk to you about the CIA and cats, which you might think are unrelated, but they are very related, actually. So this is a presentation called Justice for Microphone Cat, the CIA and Experiments with Creature Surveillance. This is based on a book I read that was a real book published by a publisher and not just on the internet, but I will warn you, if you should look up these things on the internet, they will not be as careful with your mind as I have been tonight. There will be pictures of animal abuse and taxidermy and terrible things and diagrams of how they did their various experiments that I now know about, but you don't have to. They won't be in this presentation, but just warning, it's like really serious. Okay, does anyone know about MK Ultra? Okay, yeah. The rest of you, search for any conspiracy iceberg. It's like the first layer. Okay, Sidney Gottlieb. Sidney Gottlieb was an evil scientist who was in charge of the CIA, and he did a bunch of experiments, and he was legitimately real life Dr. Frankenstein. I don't have time to go into how much, and I also think there's like rules here about like mean things to say and like incitement and hate and stuff, and I really don't like Sidney Gottlieb. Bad guy. He had a lot of really swell ideas about animals, namely that they should spy for us. So, okay, we don't know if the dolphins that the Navy uses are the same dolphins that the CIA gave LSD to. They sort of like claimed there was like a custody switch, but like the thing with the CIA you have to realize is that the whole history of the CIA is like, oh my gosh, we used to do this terrible thing, we're so sorry, we would never do it again. And then 10 years later, they're like, okay, we did it again, but like, we won't do it again. Falcons also. Both of these pictures are taken in 2003. I am sure the use of surveillance animals in that time period was unconnected to any geopolitical events. Pigeons! Okay, so the thing you might have noticed with these creatures is that they are animals wearing a camera. Okay, so when you see it, you're like, that's a spy, because usually animals don't wear those. But side note, okay, so this is like legitimately my favorite conspiracy theory. It's called the conspiracy theory. And it is the idea that the CIA and other three-letter organizations will put out obviously ridiculous conspiracy theories to make us all look like we're just like a bunch of tinfoil hat maniacs. So do you remember birds aren't real? Yeah. Okay, it's so weird to think that birds are spying on us. This is a real like thing. Okay, this is an illustration, but you can look up a taxidermy bird. I saw it. This is just a really, really hardcore 1916 illustration of it, but it really happened. So they were like, oh my gosh, all these people think birds aren't real. No, okay, that is a bait. Anyway, moving on to the cat. Okay, I chose not to show this because unlike the other creatures, this is not simply an animal wearing a microphone. No, Sidney Gottlieb and all of his little LSD minions were like, okay, no. The problem with the spy animals is that everyone can see it's a spy animal. It's an animal wearing a microphone. That's ridiculous. So they were like, no. We shall make a microphone cat. You see, this cat will also be a microphone. Yes. No one will know. We will send it out to the Soviets, and they'll be like, what a cute cat. And it will spy on them. And the really weird thing is that the microphone part technically worked. Like, okay. So I'm not going to show a diagram, but it was like in the cat. So like the Soviets would be like, that's a cute cat. It's not spying on us. And the weird thing is that actually it did pick up audio signals. And in their tests, they didn't like go and bring this to like, this was Cold War. They had to like prepare first. They did some experiments in Washington, and they're like, we'll just let the cat run around and do things and spy. But the thing is that although they were good with science, and although they were good with microphones, and although they were good with surveillance, they weren't good with cats. So I won't say exactly what happened to Microphone because it's really sad, but it's also really rad because he straight up just ran away. Like, he was doing a spy thing. He was like, and they were like, ooh, we're getting a little signal. This cat's, And then he was just like, nope, and he ran away. And the moral of that story is that all cats are beautiful and no cats are narcs.
Thank you so much. Wow. We're excited. Incredible.
These are my sources. They're
perfect.
It is Chicago style.
Oh. I have a question. So birds aren't real, cover, obviously.
Yes.
What animals aren't real then?
Squirrels are like way too real to be fake,
Oh.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a hot take, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever done the thing to the squirrels, like where you do that and it like calls to them? Like, it's like, it like triggers something in their brains. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that.
Like this?
No, you have to go like this, like, and then it'll like call squirrels.
And that's like their MK Ultra
yes,
word.
Yes, exactly. It's like their trigger word.
Cool. I didn't know.
I didn't know the deep state had this in them, frankly. But I guess I just want to ask, do you think that, like dolphins, they say they're really smart. Mm-hmm. Do you think the dolphins and the cats are like resisting this? Like, do you think that if you make an animal into a spy, it can double agent? Like,
Yeah. Dolphins would, I think. I think dolphins could be like a triple agent, though. I think they would just like keep taking assignments and just keep swimming because they're kind of evil.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Candice?
Lizard, yeah.
Lizards?
Lizard, yeah. So like, where do the lizards play into this? Because I feel like I think the lizard people allegations, I act as if I'm one of them. I just feel like they're really mean. And I feel like that's really been pushed. So are lizards actually lizard people?
I really like the theory that the lizard people element of it is fake. And the lizards themselves, like unmodified, they're not humans, they're not reptilian, they're just lizards with powers.
Oh, okay.
And like, don't let them see those random lizards doing their push-ups and whatever, like they're actually like, don't look at them.
Yeah.
Well, Kit, thank you so much for opening my brain. This is great. Thank you so much. Round of applause. I'm gonna go down so many Wikipedia rabbit holes as soon as I get home. Honestly, I'm gonna open so many tabs. I'm gonna be on there.
Yeah.
Up next, we have a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. I'm personally very emotionally invested in this question. Andrew Jabara, can you come up here? Talk about Golden Gate Bakery. Here you go. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew Jabara, and today I'll be covering one simple question, which is, trying it. There we go. Is the Golden Gate Bakery open today? So for those of you who don't know, Golden Gate Bakery is an institution in San Francisco's Chinatown. It's been around for decades. It attracts locals and travelers alike, all with the promise of its delicious, famously flaky egg tarts, but with the perils of its also infamously flaky hours of operation. And it is that cause and intrigue that draws many, many people to one very interesting page, very aptly named too. It is called, Is the Golden Gate Bakery Open Today? So this Facebook page was founded in 2012. It has thousands of followers, all of whom contribute as best as they can, trying to answer this simple question. And this page is not very hard to describe because sometimes Golden Gate Bakery is open. When it is, people rejoice. They go out, they go and buy their delicious treats. I will say, though, even on days that it's open, hours are not guaranteed. The best you can do is usually they're open sometime between noon to 1 p.m. They'll close maybe around 6 p.m. or like if they sell it early, they might close earlier. If they made extra stock, it might be a little later. It really is up to chance. But if you do look out and you go on a day or you hear that it's open from this page, people will line up. So from this example that you see, one person commented 50, that's 50 minutes later, they walked out with their famous pink box and delicious tarts. But of course, sometimes it's closed. More precisely, Golden Gate Bakery can be closed anywhere from days, weeks, or months at a time. And you really don't know until you go and you check. So in this example from spring 2025, Golden Gate Bakery is closed for several weeks. And the only sign that the promise that they would return is that they slapped a handwritten sign that says vacation on the front of their establishment. This sporadicness, these irregular hours, even when open and definitely when closed, are what spark a lot of the intrigue and controversy. The good news is, no matter how long it's closed, Golden Gate Bakery inevitably returns. And it'll usually return to some fanfare, like article, SF's Most Mysterious Bakery is Back, or a KQED article from 2007 lists at Golden Gate Bakery, which, among other things, details a time that it was closed for several months at a time. And in that interim, there is a lot of intrigue and discussion and conspiracy theories that go on forums like Reddit's r/San Francisco, where one person dared to ask, what is the story behind the Golden Gate Bakery? They're pretty popular. They could stay open for normal hours, so why don't they? I won't dive into unfounded conspiracies too much here. I will say my favorite one is someone who claimed that the owners go off gambling for weeks at a time, only to return to rebuild their egg tart fortune and do it again. Now, of course, as sweet as these egg tarts are, some people have soured on the bakery and sometimes sworn it off. In another thread from Reddit's r/Bay Area, when people asked about the best Chinese egg custard tart in the Bay, one person immediately commented Golden Gate Bakery, and another immediately tore into that, saying Golden Gate Bakery is overhyped, overrated, there are better options. I actually was chatting about this with a friend who is an SF local, and she had a great choice quote to give me, which is, and I quote, "My family is boycotting Golden Gate Bakery. They think they're too good to have consistent hours like a normal bakery." And indeed, in San Francisco, we have so many wonderful bakeries around, a lot of whom produce delicious egg tarts as well. So it's a fair critique. But at the end of the day, tomorrow isn't guaranteed, and neither are your egg tarts. So whether you love them or hate them, I think it's just fascinating getting to see this audience that Golden Gate Bakery has here and around the world, thousands and thousands of people for more than a decade, posting day in and day out, trying to answer that one simple question. Is the Golden Gate Bakery open today? Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much. Do you want to give the update on today? Andrew did some real journalism today.
Yeah, we're here at KQED. I'm trying to do some boots on the ground journalism. So I'm here to tell you that yes, indeed, when I visited today, the Golden Gate Bakery was open. They've also promised they're trying to keep more consistent hours from like around 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, maybe on the weekends. But I believe we discussed and you said they were closed yesterday, so they're trying.
I cared so much about this presentation because I don't live here, I live in LA, but I'm here like once a month, and every time, no matter what time of the month I'm here, no matter what hour I check, they're never open.
It also doesn't help that their storefront, when closed, looks like it's abandoned. They board it up, they pull on the metal locks. But no, like I said, no matter how long they're closed, Golden Gate Bakery always returns.
Okay. Do they only make egg tarts?
Good question. They do not just make egg tarts. Right now, they have some delicious mooncakes, too. So there are more baked treats that they do sell than egg tarts, but they're really famous, especially in online social media, for those egg tarts. It's consistently been considered one of the best, one of the tastiest, or at least one of the most well-known by influencers who are waiting in those lines and take the cute photo afterwards to claim that they've eaten one.
Do you think, is there any like sort of connection that people have about why it's closed, when it's closed? Like, is it the celestial bodies are in a certain arrangement?
You know, from seeing these presentations today, I really need to look into whether there's a connection between Nicholas Sparks and Golden Gate Bakery. This is unfortunately unproven territory, but if anybody's working on a PhD in a similar realm, you're welcome to take the idea.
All right, well, everyone, thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew. So informative. I learned so much. Every single one of these, I'm learning so much.
Also, thank you. Thank you for giving me that egg tart earlier.
It's true. He did bring egg tarts for the green room. It was great. From the real Golden Gate Bakery, which is open today. Up next, we have another topic that I'm very excited to hear about, and it does involve Twilight's Robert Pattinson. Jenny George, can you come up here? Here you go. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jenny George, and oh, sorry, the clicker. I'm here today to talk about how playing Edward Cullen prepared Robert Pattinson to play the best Batman, in my opinion. So, my credentials. I've been a Twilight fan since middle school, and I've never strayed from Team Edward. I don't know much about Batman, actually, except for the Matt Reeves movie from 2022 and Lego Batman. Both excellent movies, made it on my Letterboxd. I was interviewed as a Twilight expert for KQED. Nisa Khan, shout out, read all her work. And I love Robert Pattinson, not only because he's incredibly handsome, but because he's really silly and weird. Look it up. But one of my favorite fun facts about him is that he says he used to smell exactly like a crayon, but that changed after he had a son, and now he doesn't have any smell at all. Curious, maybe the next investigation. How we got here. These are all the previous Batmans, but I don't really care about them. Don't even know who those people are, to be honest. Pattinson says it himself that he only plays freaks. So if your friend said they were dating a guy who gets in a custom leather bodysuit with ears specifically and fights crime in the middle of the night, you would definitely hold an intervention for them and tell them to break up with that loser. As for Edward, he's been three-wheeling like 3 couples for like almost 100 years. And vampires in Twilight can't sleep. So he can't even tune out the sound of them having sex, which Stephanie Meyer says sounds like boulders scraping together. Yeah, imagine that. So he's definitely a freak to be living in that house for as long as he did. It still is, I guess. Robert Pattinson really lets his freak flag fly in the Batman because he was reined in Twilight. There's a scene in Batman where Bruce Wayne just smudges eyeliner over all his eyes. And I shot straight up in my chair when I saw that because it really reminded me of the 2009, 2008 emo kid aesthetic that I grew up with in middle school. And I think what endears me the most about Pattinson's Batman is that he doesn't even try to glamorize this dude who I think is actually just a really sad and lonely man. I really appreciated that. Everyone else tries to make him out to be a playboy, but not to be. All right, so the evidence. So both Batman and Edward go on a hiatus, pivotal to their characterization. And I would argue that they come back worse for it. Specifically, Edward goes to Alaska after gaslighting a teenager that she smells bad. That's the teenager. In Alaska, he rejects a vampire baddie, and then he comes back to continue gaslighting said teenager. And of course, Batman goes and finds some monks and makes them teach him how to fight, is my understanding. Instead of using his wealth to help Gotham, I guess. That's reasonable. So actually, it's very interesting that both Edward and Batman have this this intense moral dilemma about killing people. And it's actually partially rooted in their genuine love and respect for their parents. And I think Pattinson really nails the look of a man who's burning with self-loathing and cynicism. So I just love that similarity, the parallel between them. And, who would have thought? This is my favorite thing, actually. In both movies, Pattinson has to save someone from an incoming vehicle, and then he, doesn't explain why he can do that without getting hurt himself. And both men are so incredibly bad at lying, which Pattinson really has been perfecting since Twilight. And it's like stunt work, I think, so that came in handy. So to conclude, one of my favorite things about Batman, or Pattinson being cast as Batman, is that I encourage like Twilight fans and Pattinson fans like myself to really like watch the movie and really get involved in Batman lore. It was really fun because overnight there was like all this discussion, like this Twilight discourse that revived online, and was really fun and exciting. I felt like it was in middle school again. And then, like Pattinson says, he had quite a lot of male fans that were really impressed with his Batman portrayal, and I think that's awesome. Like that fandom crossover, I think, is one of the most fun things about internet fandoms to me. So I hope this presentation convinces you that if you can't handle Pattinson at his Twilight, you don't deserve him as the Batman.
Oh, yeah. Wow, thank you so much for that. I have one question. So obviously, Robert Pattinson played the best Batman, and I just say that because I have not seen the previous Batmans, but I love that boy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it was better than Lego Batman.
Yeah. But so obviously, he was the best Batman because of Edward Cullen. Do you think any of the previous Batmans could have played Edward Cullen?
Oh, absolutely not. I actually can't pick any of them out in a lineup, so I don't even know, but I don't think so. There is no Edward Cullen without Robert Pattinson. Good luck to the next guy, but you're not getting it.
Do you think that there's any actor like Robert Pattinson who like embodies the sensitive young man, or like, could Timothée Chalamet do it, or is that all?
No, he's not weird enough. He doesn't try to be weird enough. He went to a performing arts school. I don't think it's the same thing.
Right.
Like Pattinson had to be talked down by his manager. Like you gotta smile. Like that scene in Twilight where he's like in the trees, like he's smiling because his manager just told him, "You're on the verge of being fired because you're being too artsy about this." Yeah. And he literally like annotated Twilight with all the times that Edward frowned because like the production company had highlighted all the times that Edward smiled. He was like, "Look at this. It's not the same ratio." So I just don't know if there's anyone that's doing it like him.
Yeah. Do you think you could hang with Robert? You think you guys could be friends?
No.
Oh. Too freaky, not freaky enough. Why?
He's a father. I think we're in different stages of life.
All right.
I would love to talk to him about the crayon thing. Like, I think I have questions for him, but I don't think we're peers.
All right, please give it up for Jenny George. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was so fun. Again, every single presentation, I'm like, I'm agreeing. I'm in. Up next, ooh, this is a fun one. We have a take on some former presidents, okay? On one former president. I hope you're ready. Daania and Ron Tahira, please come up to the stage. Here you go.
My name is Daania, and I'm going to be talking about George W. Bush.
To do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.
I mean, guys, like that gave me chills, right? It's just like, what the hell? I'm going to be talking about Bushisms, which are verbal errors made by George W. Bush, but in my opinion, they're evidence that he's a social and political mastermind. There's books about this stuff. There's academic articles. There's the iconic meme where George was told that the towers had, well, you know, yoinked. Sorry. Okay, but which the internet ran with, and shout out Nicholas Sparks for 9/11. But I'm going to be conducting a linguistic analysis on these Bushisms to prove to you why he's just the cutting-edge intellectual. Temporal king, he knows time. Spatial awareness, he was there. Kinda. Yeah, that's where it gets interesting, right? Because what's he talking about, you know?
Just seems like I was here yesterday. I was. Kinda.
I mean, I call this tactic confusing your audience, right? Because it works. It's political intrigue. I mean, environmental genius, right? Like, here we all are freaking out about climate change when really we should just be coexisting with the damn fish.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
We don't even need to coexist with each other. We can just coexist with water animals.
So what if the guy threw a shoe at me?
Yeah. Next time someone throws a shoe at you, just say, "So what?" And then just shrug it off nonchalantly, and then raise taxes, and then invade the Middle East. And you're set. You're just set for life. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, no. You can't fool him twice, okay? This guy is so unfoolable that he just makes up his own phrases. Yeah.
Shame on you. It fooled me, we can't get fooled again.
Yeah. I mean, no one can fool this guy except his own vice president.
Get him.
Okay, this is my favorites. We are not at war with Muslims. He emphasized that word, okay? And that made me feel heard. There's no a beef. There may be many beef. There's not a beef, because this guy is the king of indefinite articles. Just solved decades of religious tension, okay? And yeah, again, as a Muslim and someone who was once a child, I mean, I was just like, thank you.
We are not at war with Muslims. We don't have a beef with Muslims. We want to be friends with Muslims and Muslim children.
Just wow. Wow. He can put me on his watch list. That's what I'm saying. Okay, sorry, that was cheeky, but okay. These are lessons on why this man is my idol, which is that we all need to chill the fuck out. It doesn't matter if you're president of the United States or if you started two of the longest wars in U.S. history, because who cares, right? Yeah, you think he had it hard? Because his dad was a politician, and so were his brothers. So the way he made it to the top was through pure grit. Yeah, so if you ever slip up or do something wrong, just start a coup in a developing country, and it'll work out, because that's what's happening right now, actually, if you read the news. So, yeah, and my sources are this guy.
Wow, thank you so much. Where to begin? I just fear I'll never say anything as hard as now watch this drive. Like, I won't ever do that, you know? Any thoughts?
I love you. I love you, girl. That's it.
Back at you, bro. Back at you.
Can I ask a bit of a callback to Morgan's, but how would you situate Bush in the context of woke 2? Is he...
This is so funny, because I was taking a shit in the bathroom when the presentation was happening. So I'm sorry, because I was roughing it out in there. So,
and that was a Bushism. Yeah,
that was incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you. For Bushisms. Wow, I laughed so hard. I think I dislodged a contact. I was actually cracking up. What a great thing. I'm still giggling. Last but not least, we have one more presentation for you tonight. Jess Rochberg, can you come up here? Here you go.
Thank you.
So, introduce yourself.
What's good, everyone? I'm Jess Rauschberg, and I am here to talk about career cows and digital freakery on the internet. So for those who are unacquainted, a career cow is a type of wool cow, or a highly vulnerable internet persona who gains notoriety online because they're exploitable, they're easily harassed, and that's a form of entertainment. But unlike regular lolcows who are kind of sequestered to what I would call the bowels of the internet, like 4chan, Something Awful, Kiwi Farms, the career cow has transitioned to the mainstream creator economy, and they're making a career out of being exploited. And it's also important to note that not all career cows or lolcows are disabled, but they're overwhelmingly autistic and neurodivergent people. So let's get into it. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so the career cow that I have been studying for the last 2 years is none other than Josh Block, or World of T-Shirts, who started making TikToks as a teenager in New York. It's largely speculated that Josh is autistic, although he's never confirmed that himself, but his family members have spoken to the press about it. And he started making these videos where he would just like roam around New York and was kind of New York's town fool. When he turned 21, he started documenting excessive alcohol usage on social media. These older men started acting as his managers or handlers, and he became this kid that you could find online, wandering around the city, or on a live stream, who was just a really drunk autistic kid. And he got 4 million TikTok followers and a now discontinued streaming deal with the Web 3.0 platform Party. But what is this all about? Like, are we just thinking about this one kid, or is this tied to something different? And so I argue that freak shows from the 18th, 19th, 20th century laid the ground for the career cow. In the 20th century, you could go to a traveling freak show where you could literally watch disabled people on display, not as humans, but as people or beings who were not quite human. You're going to watch them, you're going to pay because you think that they are not like you, that their disability makes them a spectacle to ogle at. But the freak show was sequestered to a specific time and place. You went and maybe 100 people saw you. The platforms where creators and career cows work are expanding this. So they accelerate the time and space collapse. So now millions of people can be part of the freak show. And this happens particularly on Josh's live stream. So here's a screenshot of a live stream that I have on the side from 2024, where he is very, very drunk, and his audience is using the platform's features to harass him for entertainment online. So using these platforms, you can actually pay the creator to have a special comment read aloud in the chat. So this creator has paid Josh $20 under the name Wake Up Joshua, and they call him a disabled rat. You should not be working. You're not valuable. You are disabled. This is read aloud not only to Josh, but to the tens of thousands of people who have tuned in for the 5-hour marathon stream that he's doing. And when they give him this comment, he gets very agitated. He engages in stimming behaviors. He bites himself. He starts screaming. And that's a form of entertainment for his audience. And this happens for hours and hours and hours on end. With every comment, we get a reaction out of Josh. And that becomes a form of what reality television scholars would call humilitainment, that you are seeking pleasure from this person, not because you think they're funny, you think they're talented. Well, you think they're funny because they're disabled. And this becomes his living. He's making money off of it. What does this all mean? And is it only sequestered to the live stream? And I argue it's actually not, because the more content that the career cow makes, the more that the audience can profit and engage in this humiliation. Because of all of the content that he's making to make his living, now there are accounts that track his behavior, and that becomes a form of entertainment for audiences, whether it's the World of Alcohol tracker, which would make compilations of how much Josh was drinking on a stream or in his TikToks to his wiki page, which I actually really love and is probably one of the most objective spaces about Josh Block on the internet. This is a place to document Josh's lolcow behaviors. When's the last time he was arrested? When's the last time he said something really racist on a stream? When's the last time he was stimming in public? He actually just got out of a court-ordered rehab stay and is not making content. We're in a code black zone, folks. What does this all mean? I feel like I've really put a downer on this. But I want to end or conclude with a question that I got from speaking with a journalist a couple of weeks ago about Josh Block and career cows. And I think it's really easy to think that he's being exploited and he's being taken advantage of. And those things are true. But at the same time, he has agency. When he chooses to do this, that's Josh's choice. And to say that disabled creators who are heavily suppressed and censored by platforms do not have agency, that goes into a lot of the infantilizing rhetorics that we have when we talk about disability and content creation. When he chooses to be racist, xenophobic, misogynistic, violent, that's not his disability. That's just Josh being not so great of a person. And so this is the question that I'll be thinking about for the next couple years as I'm writing a book about, thank you, coming out with Duke University Press sometime in the next decade about content creation and disability. So if you're around later today, I'd love to talk to you about it. I'm also super online. So if I do not see you tonight, I will see you on the internet. And thank you to KQED for inviting me here.
Yeah. I guess one question I have, which is kind of the thing, is that like Clavicular and a lot of these other streamers are kind of getting big. Do you think that some of that lolcow logic applies to him?
Yeah, I think the ways, so what I'm arguing in this larger discussion and investigation about Josh is that the ableism that shapes what creators do doesn't just impact disabled people. It impacts how we interact with everyone. And so we internalize that ableism where we don't take other people seriously. We devalue them. We think they're just a meme. And that can shape the way not only we interact with creators as audience members, but also each other. And that's kind of dangerous, a little scary.
I have a question. Please don't cancel me for this, okay? We just heard about Bushisms. Was Bush a lolcow?
Oh. Ooh. He may have paved the way for the Josh Blocks and the Chris Chans of the world. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a take.
That is my hot take. Don't cancel me.
Unfortunately, my brain only goes to one person, and it's Rob Roush from Love Island. Trader Wars. Is he a career cow? Is he on the path?
I think it's likely. I think we see this like a lot with some of the people who are going from content creation to more traditional forms of entertainment media work. Like Trisha Paytas, this is my hot take, might be a career cow.
Oh.
Quote me on that.
Ooh, that's a hot take. Well, thank you so much. Again, learning so much. Yes. That was great. That was a little food for thought. So that concludes our very first live event, guys. Thank you all so much for coming. I hope you all learned a lot. I hope you walk away with new takes. Do you have any closing remarks? Anything?
Love KQED. Thank you guys for all the hard work. Close all tabs. Wonderful podcast. And Morgan. We're friends with Morgan, and so we're grateful for all the work friends for us
in real life.
Thank you to everyone here. Thank y'all for coming and listening to Close All Tabs.
Yeah. Please do. Yes. Thank you all for coming. I still believe the Yuri on Ice movie can happen.